Do you think today, are we set up in a way where a Matthew Cox of 2020, March 2020, can be prevented from happening? Or a Matthew Cox of today can still do what you did in 2006?
No, I think it's funny because I did another podcast. I did a podcast, and the comments are outrageous. But a lot of the comments are, "Oh, this could never happen. Nothing's changed. There haven't been. It's not like there's all these public records is still recording. Listen, in New York, they have a huge rash where people are simply just." They're finding people's properties that have no mortgage on them at all, and they're transferring the deeds to people to them. They're doing a quitclaim deed to somebody that, like a buddy of theirs, and then they're selling the property out from somebody because it happens to be some abandoned house that's in decent shape. They'll get access to the house, they'll get an appraisal, and they'll sell it. I'm going to transfer the house from this person to you, record it. Nobody's contacting the original owner. It's a recording system. So, those things are still happening. Satisfying loans, that still happens. In the way that I did it, the combination of scams that I used was unique. So every time I did it, they very quickly zoomed in, or connected it with me.
So which ones can't be done today?
I don't know that any of them couldn't be done. Other than the fact that borrowing the money is more difficult, but it's not impossible. The only difference is most of these loans now, instead of changing a W-2, typically they're having you sign what's called an 8821 form, and they're sending it off to the IRS to verify your employment. So they're saying, you said you made $75,000 last year, you didn't. That's a lie.
They're doing that now?
There's a lot of most mortgage companies.
How much does that cost to the bank to do it?
It's almost free.
Oh, it's free.
Yeah, they send it to the IRS.
So why wouldn't all of them do it?
It's more paperwork, and think if you're mailing off 10,000 and one's coming back bad, is it really worth it? I mean, most of these people, even the bad loans, a lot of them just pay.
Yeah, but I give you an idea on the insurance side. On the insurance side, there's something called Nexus, right? So where they check what medication. Like I can check if you say I'm not on any medication, and I'm the insurance company underwriting you, right? I can go through a testing center that reporting place that can send me an email back and say, no, Matthew takes Zoloft, he's on Prozac, and he takes this, he takes blood thinner. These are the things he's been on for the last 6 years.
Right.
Then I come back, I'm like, wait a minute, I can't give you preferred underwriting, right? But that testing costs me $25 to pay to that reporting agency. So on the insurance side, sometimes people don't want to do it because they don't want to pay $25 times 10,000 policies. That's $250,000 a month of a cost. That's $3 million. I can keep that $3 million and put it for underwriters. But you're saying on the mortgage side, there's no cost to it to find out from the IRS.
It's the IRS. So I'm not sure that the IRS.
Why wouldn't every bank do it?
IRS did not used to charge. Do they charge now? I don't know.
You don't know.
But I don't think so.
Okay, so let me ask you this other question. This other question is, which part of the things today, I know you said some of it like the IRS verification. So if it's not being fixed today and everything you did can be done today, if all of it can be done today, who's at fault here? Meaning, when you're in the sales world, the processor wants it to be funded just as much as the loan officer does, right? And whether it's the title, the appraisal guy making $450 or title's making $1,700, $2,000 depending on the side of the loan, there's a lot of people that want to get this loan to be funded.
Right.
The only person that takes the hit is when WAMU realized China's no longer buying their paper on the back end, and they shut it down, and WAMU goes from being a $330 billion company in 2005 to being sold to Chase for $1.9 billion. So really the only person that takes a hit on the back end is the one that can't sell the paper. Kind of like that one guy that the $2 million, they sold it for $1 million, and they come back. But my question is, because there's so many people that have their hands in the candy jar, like everybody's getting a piece of it, does anybody want all of this to be stopped? And if yes, who?
Well, I can't imagine. First of all, I mean, fraud just, they love to throw like the numbers. It's $3 billion or $1 trillion.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but overall, it's very little. It's the percentages. It's not even like 1% is fraud. I mean, it's so minor that why would you spend all of this money when the actuaries have already accounted for a certain amount of fraud? So if we know there's going to be a certain amount of fraud, we account for it. What is the real incentive to try and fix it?
It's a marketing loss, the way they would look at it.
Right.
form of a marketing loss.
Right. What's the big deal? We're good. We're good. It's really not hurting us. We can bitch and complain, but the truth is, it's really not damaging. And it's more.
Interesting.
It's more. I think it's more trouble to put up all these things.
Regulations and over-regulated.
Right. Now a lot of these individual people are going to get hurt. The people that actually need the loans aren't going to be able to get the loans because we're trying to stop all this fraud. But the truth is, the fraud really isn't harming us as much as it is, as much as people think.
So flip the coin. FBI hires you, okay? And they say, come on in. We want you to help us out. We want you to catch the modern day Matthew Cox. Would you know exactly how to catch all of them? Would there be trends that you can?
But there's not. By the time I've done what I'm doing, by the time I've done my scam, I'm already gone. How do you detect that scam? Unless you want to revamp the entire.
Most of these guys are greedy, though. It's tough to kind of leave and be gone, right? That's the biggest temptation of a scam artist because he can't. It's always the next hit is the last hit, like the movie Carlito's Way, right? Where he's like, well, you know, babe, this is the last one I'm doing, and then we're going to go and live over there.
Even I have the same thing. I was on the run 3 years. Dateline was coming out. Mm-hmm. I'd just been in Fortune magazine, had just done a piece on me. So I was in Bloomberg Business Week, did 2 pieces. Fortune magazine, there were 30 some odd articles in the St. Pete Times. Chicago Tribune did. That's the whole time I'm on the run. So I know it's coming down. And I know that Dateline was about to come out. And I'm ready to go. I'm leaving. And I'm thinking, I'm just going to pull out $2 or $3 million and I'm leaving. And I don't make it to that. Let's say I like to think that would have been it.
You think so?
I like to think so. But you know what? Let's face it. Almost every time I did something, that was it. Because you're greedy or you're overconfident. Look, I'll tell you one time. One time I'm on the run. I was on the Secret Service's most wanted list, by the way, at this point.
Mm-hmm. What year is this? 06 or 05?
This is 04. No. This is 05. I'm going to say this is 05.
Peak of the mortgage industry.
Right.
04, 05.
Right. I had gone to Las Vegas with Becky.
Okay.
At this point, I'm surveying homeless people to get their information. So I've come up with a survey form that says we're surveying homeless people to determine where we're going to place our next homeless facility. I work for the Salvation Army. I've got a little badge. I know it's horrible. I feel bad. So stop judging me. So
creative.
They have no idea. For $20. They're filling out the form. I order all your stuff. I got your high school transcripts. I got everything. I then go in the DMV. I get a driver's license. I buy a car in your name. I don't even need of course I go to Social Security. I get a Social Security issued. So I've got clean Social Security. I got credit. I got a house. I got whatever I want in your name. You're some guy that lives under a bridge in Las Vegas. Now I'm in South Carolina. I remember the guy. This is funny because the guy had gotten in Las Vegas. I meet him while I'm doing the survey. I ask about does he have any criminal record. He says he's got several arrests for prostitution, but they were misdemeanors. I said okay. I go, so you're a male prostitute? He's like, yeah. I was like, oh okay, whatever. So I take the thing. I go to South Carolina. I go to DMV. I get a driver's license in his name. I then go buy 2 houses. After I buy those houses, I satisfy the loan in his name. Satisfy the loan in both those houses. I then go to multiple mortgage companies and I borrow money on the houses. One of them I borrow like $300,000-$400,000. The next one I borrow like close to $1 million on the house. Their house is only worth $200,000. I go in the bank. I'm cashing checks. I'm pulling out $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 over the course of a few weeks. Becky, by the way, the whole time, every time I would go into a bank, this didn't not all the time, but a lot of times, she would say, "What happens if you get arrested?" And I would say, if I get arrested, they'll be arresting me as, the guy's name was Gary Sullivan. They'll be arresting me as Gary Sullivan.
The male prostitute.
The male prostitute.
Yeah.
They will not run my prints right away because my identity is not in question. Back then, they didn't have the scanners. So they're not going to run, they'll scan you, but it doesn't necessarily run it through APHIS.
So that's a new thing they're doing. They got scanners now.
Right. Well, they didn't, at the time, they had them, but they weren't. I said, look, the worst that'll happen, I get arrested, it'll be a minor charge, get me a lawyer, get me out on bail, we'll take off. She goes, okay. So I go in the bank one day, I go into Wachovia. I'm waiting to cash a check for like $6,000. And I pulled out $50,000, $60,000 out of that account. I had like 8 accounts. Well, next thing I know, bam, a cop walks up, they grab me from behind, they arrest me. They walk me in the back. I'm done. That's it. I already know I'm on the Secret Service's most wanted list. This is it. They take me in the back. They sit me down. All the customers are looking at me. Guy says, Mr. Sullivan, we're waiting for the detective to show up. I'm thinking detective, okay, that's like FBI or something, I guess. He's coming. Well, then this cop comes in, and he says, hey, I'm with the Richmond County Sheriff's Department. We understand, Wachovia's fraud department called us. They said you're running some kind of a scam. You're pulling out cash. I go, are you serious? He goes, I said, look, man, am I under arrest? He's like, no. I said, well, I feel like I'm under arrest. And I show him my cuffs, and he goes, oh, take those off him. Takes them off me. They call the Wachovia head of security. He's on the phone. He says, okay, now what's going on? He's borrowed how many loans? He said, you got 3 loans on the house. I actually had like 6. They only caught 3. And I said, oh, okay. I said, yeah, is that illegal? And the guy goes, I'm not really sure. And I remember right then thinking, I'm walking out of here. I just got to convince this guy I haven't done anything wrong. Wachovia is telling him I've done something wrong. But if I can get out of here. So I start arguing with him. This guy's saying he's got all first mortgages. I'm saying they're not all first mortgages. Wachovia is a first mortgage because they know they lent me a first mortgage. I said, and he goes, who are the other ones? And he goes, oh, SunTrust and so and so. Right, SunTrust is a credit line. The other one is a second mortgage. That's the 3. And he's like, well, he wants to know why you took out all that money, $500,000 on a $200,000 house. I said, bro, I don't know how it works. I work for a labor company. I give him my business card. I said, all I know is I came here, the woman, I told her I needed $500,000. The loan officer said I can get you this much. I got a friend over here, she can get you this much. It sounds to me like they got a problem at the bank. I don't know anything about it. He says, okay. And the guy's screaming, it's a shotgunning scam. You don't understand. He's doing this, he's doing that. He's like, and I'm saying, man, I wouldn't know how to do this. I don't know what he's talking about. And he says, yeah, this guy he works for a labor company. He doesn't, and he's like, well, why are you pulling out all this cash? And I go, well, I'm cashing guys' checks. I mean, I got a bunch of Mexican guys that doing roofs, and they don't take checks, or I give them a check and I cash a check. I mean, is that illegal? No, that's not illegal. Okay. So then he says, his ID starts with 000. And he goes, no, it's a real ID. It was a real ID. He goes, it's a real ID. This guy was in California, Wachovia. He goes, no, our IDs start with 000. And he said, trust me, I've run him through NCIC. It's him. This is Gary Sullivan. And I go, oh, now I'm not Gary Sullivan? I go, come on, bro, what are we doing here, man? What are we doing? He goes, I know, Gary, it's okay. And he says, okay, so he talks to the guy. This guy literally is arguing with him. He eventually says, okay, I'm going to take him downtown, have him fill out a police report. I'm waiting for the district attorney to call me back. I don't even know what to charge him with, if I can charge him with anything. I think you need to talk to your loan officer. Hangs up the phone. I then get up. When I get up, the 2 sheriff deputies are there. And he says, do you have a driver's license? And he said, this is an ID. And I said, yeah, I have a driver's license. I said, but it's in Nevada. I don't know if Gary Sullivan, he's a homeless guy. He's blowing guys for $20 a pop on the park bench. I don't know if he's got a driver's license. One of the cops says, I'll check. He goes out to his car. He comes back and he goes, he does have a driver's license. And he goes, okay, it's cool. And he goes, yeah. He goes, well, it says he's 5'10". And they look at me and I go, well, with a good pair of shoes. And they all go, ha, ha, ha. And so at the same time, he says, I remember he had said something about, that's right, you're from Nevada. And all the cops look at me and they look at each other and they kind of grin. And I realize he said he ran me through NCIC. He thinks I've been arrested in Nevada for prostitution. And I thought, oh, fuck. This house is just ridiculous. So they gave me my ID. I follow him to the police station. What am I going to say? I literally almost want to say, listen, man, that's all bullshit. My name's Matt Cox. They followed me to the police station. I go in the police station, fill out the police report. I'm waiting in the hallway. My wanted poster, by the way, is on the wall. There's all these posters. My only color one on the whole wall.
You're seeing it.
I'm seeing it. I'm pissing in my pants. When I leave, before I got there, took my own car. When I'm driving there, Becky calls me. I pick up the phone and she goes, oh my God, what's going on? And I tell her what happened, and she goes, you don't understand. They just raised you to #1 on the Secret Service's most wanted list. You've got to get out of there. I said, I can't. There's a sheriff's deputy behind me. The other guy's in front of me. I got to play this out. And I say, the worst that'll happen is I get arrested. You get me out on bond. She goes, I'm not getting you out on bond. I'm not getting you a lawyer. She had like $600,000 in cash.
Of your money?
My money. She was now living in Houston. And I'm like, what the
Are you still
fuck?
together or no?
Well, we're not together. We're still a team, but we're not
With
together.
benefits.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we hate each other. So I go into the police station, fill out the report. Guy walks me out. I get in my car. I leave. I go straight to 2 more banks and get out more money. Until another person recognizes me, goes to make a phone call. I jump in my car and I leave. So that was insane. And what's funny about that, so I remember like a week later, it comes out in the St. Petersburg Times comes out and says, fugitive caught in South Carolina, released by authorities. And it was a big article about how they grabbed me, they brought me downtown, I talked my way out of it. They always mention that, like on American Greed, they always mention it.
What did Playboy write about you in 06?
Oh God, that was probably a couple thousand words. What they write? They made it sound like I was this, like the most ingenious, prolific mortgage fraud con artist of all times, and yeah, it says some great sound bites. The big thing they always latch on to is one of the things you were asking about, like how flawed is the system, let's say. When I was satisfying the loans, one time I satisfied a loan using the name C. Montgomery Burns from The Simpsons. So so C. Montgomery Burns satisfied the loan to like Federal Savings and Loan Bank, and I remember thinking it was cute and it was funny. The judge had no sense of humor. He did not find it funny at all.
But you said earlier you don't like to make people look stupid, but you like to make people look stupid a little bit. Like to say, like, look how dumb you are that you're allowing me to finance loans on Reservoir Dogs by Quentin Tarantino, you idiot.
It's a great movie.